Diamond B Sports presents the American Sports Cavalcade with your host, the Tennessee Cowboy, Ed Bruce, and Brock Yates and Steve Evans. The American Sports Cavalcade.
Driving a race car is my way of making a living. My way of putting the bread on a table at home. I'm getting back about half as much as I'm given. And
I'm glad that I didn't have to do that for a living, because the competition out there is something you wouldn't believe. I did it to see how well an amateur could do against what is probably the world's greatest drivers, and that's the ones that drive the race cars.
Finishing out of the top 10 is nothing but bad.
This is a very special race car. It's one of the cars raced by a very special man, Marty Robbins. Right now in this garage in Nashville, it's being reconditioned to the shape that Marty raced it in. Marty's career as a singer-songwriter is legendary, of course. But singing is just one of the things that Marty liked to do. You see, deep down, Marty was one of the good old boys. And whenever he could, he pursued his other passion in life, stock car racing. Today, we're returning to the track that Marty did most of his racing at for a special tribute to him by his racing peers. I'm Ed Bruce, and what better place for this tribute than the Nashville International Raceway, where the top Grand National NASCAR teams will be competing in the Marty Robbins 420. As always, call the action for you today, my two buddies, Brock Yates and Steve Evans. So let's go on up the road a couple of miles and get some insight into this special race.
Thank you, Ed, and welcome to the Nashville International Raceway, where we're going to run 420 laps of exciting Grand National stock car racing in the name of one of the greatest country and western singers and one of the greatest stock car racers of all time. Appropriately enough, on the pole for this race is Nashville, Tennessee's neighbor from Franklin, Tennessee, Darrell Waltrip, one of the finest drivers ever to run on this racetrack. And Darrell, does this race mean anything more to you because it's in the name of Marty Robbins?
Well, it seems to be a whole lot more emotion around the race because Marty was a really good friend of mine, and when I first came to Nashville in 1967, 1968, he raced here every Saturday night, and he used to tell me things that helped him at this track. I thought it was always neat that Marty would be halfway through a 30-lap feature. He may even be leading the race. He would come out of the race, park his car, get in a limo, and go to the Grand Ole Opry because he had to perform over there at 10 o'clock or something. He was that kind of guy. He loved racing, and he loved being around the sport, and all he ever wanted to do was just be involved. He just thought everything about racing was really neat, and that's what I liked about him.
Thank you, Darrell, and best of luck tonight.
Thanks a lot.
And now to my partner, Steve Evans, who's the outside pole sitter in this race.
Right you are, Brock, and the man on the outside of the front row is Neil Bonnet in the National Engineering Chevrolet car number 75. And Neil, nobody enjoyed the start of a Winston Cup race here in Nashville more than Marty Robbins himself.
Well, Marty was quite a competitor, a lot of fun to be around, and I'm not so sure he ain't got the best seat in the house tonight.
Let's hope so. And, you know, Darrell intends to lead this first lap. What do you think?
Well, it's going to be awful tough on the inside there at this track. I'm not playing after getting at him pretty hard. We'll see how it goes.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
And here's another young man that's going to try to lead that first lap, Ricky Rudd, who qualified third, one of the quickest qualifiers in the league. And on the outside of the second row, Tim Richmond.
In car number 33, the first Buick, will be Harry the Bandit Gant. And alongside him in row number 3 will be car number 44, Terry Labonte. That's a Chevrolet.
A bunch of young hotshots up front, like this one, Dale Earnhardt, who qualified 7th. Outside him, Joe Ruttman, a very experienced driver from the West Coast.
And in the 5th row is Jeff Bodine, who just moved down south from up on the East Coast. Car number 88, the Pontiac. Alongside him, maybe the best of the Fords, car number 9, Bill Elliott.
And here's one of the great ones, Bobby Allison. Thumbs up from him, one of the all-time superstars in this league. And this automobile will not be racing tonight, Steve, but it's going to be a set piece of this race. That is the last race car driven by Marty Robbins in competition in last season's Atlanta 500.
One of several race cars that Marty owned right up until last year. The field, Brock, I think, waiting a respectable amount of time for car number 22 to roll out in front of the fans here at the Marty Robbins 420.
Being driven tonight by Ronnie Robbins, his son, as the rest of the field moves out down the front straightaway on the warm-up laps that precede all NASCAR Grand National races. Get a couple of laps behind the pace car to get the engines warmed up, the tires warmed up, the drivers a little bit comfortable in their seats.
And as Darrell Waltrip told you, Brock, and Neil Bonnet told me, Marty Robbins dearly loved to race, and most of all, right here on his home track in Nashville. Marty underwent open heart surgery a few years ago, and that would stop just about any race car driver, but he came back and still pursued as active a racing career as his schedule would allow.
Yeah, and he had a wonderful sense of humor about it. You know, Marty had a few pretty stout crashes during the course of his NASCAR racing career, and he used to refer to himself as NASCAR's chief wall tester because of those bounces off some of the retaining walls. And here is Gary Baker, the president of the Nashville International Raceway, showing the drivers a little bit earlier a very special trophy. The driver's uniform that he wore in his last event at Atlanta, as well as a gold record that will go to the winner of this event. A special trophy, Steve.
And Brock, a lot of the drivers are thinking more about winning that special trophy than any of the money or NASCAR points that are up tonight. That's just not the sort of thing that would end up in anybody's attic gathering dust.
No, in fact, a lot of the drivers say they'll either donate it to the Country Music Hall of Fame here in Nashville or the Grand National Stock Car Hall of Fame located in Talladega, Alabama at the Talladega track. You can be sure, though, that that trophy will have a special significance for racing fans and country music fans for a long time to come.
We talked about the lineup through row number 6 with Bobby Allison, but some big names towards the back of the pack as well.
Well, Steve, this is one of the shorter tracks in the NASCAR Tour, just a little over half a mile, and just a click of the stopwatch during qualifying can put you back in the field. And there's that car 22, and you know that thousands and thousands of fans here tonight wish there was one man in that car in this field, a man named Marty Robbins.
Might even call me a 20th century drifter. 32 weekends I load up the car and I'm gone.
Now,
Fans on their feet, Steve, as the race cars take the green, second gear down the front straightaway, upshift into third and up into fourth as Darrell Waltrip leads the way. Right behind him, Neil Bonnet out of the second starting spot as they head down into turn 3. Waltrip already got himself about a car length lead, Steve.
And Darrell Waltrip had an incredible start, Brock. He was on the accelerator hard a good half second before Neil Bonnet ever reacted to the green flag.
You know, I'll tell you, there must be a bunch of guys behind Waltrip saying, oh, no, not again. You know, he's won 4 races in a row in this place and has led, believe it or not, over 90% of the racing laps that have been unfolded here in the last 4 years. Just an unbelievable domination of a short track event like this, Steve.
But Darrell Waltrip being followed not that closely by Neil Bonnet, the red car of Tim Richmond. And you know, Brock, these are kind of the tense early laps when anything can happen. The driver's doing a very good job of staying out of trouble on this short track in the early going.
Well, this starts out to be a one-groove racetrack. You notice most of the cars are running down low through the corners, but as the racetrack gets some rubber laid down on it, you're going to see the groove move, and really the cars will be able to operate in a higher groove. More cars will be able to pass. But in the early laps, as you say, it's top. Everybody stays down low, and Waltrip just is handling like magic. Look at that. He's moved out to maybe a 10-car lead. They come down the front straightaway. He has the ability to set a car up. He and his crew chief, the legendary Junior Johnson, have the ability to set these cars up so they handle like magic on these short racetracks. That is, of course, a Chevrolet Monte Carlo, a car that Junior has set up for the season for Waltrip. It's a very good race car on the super speedways, but boy, it is so tough on these short tracks. It's almost unbelievable.
Well, Brock, in many cases, especially among the well-financed professional teams, they have a separate short track car.
Absolutely. They'll use, some of them even have a special road racing car that they use for running at Riverside, the only road race on the Grand National schedule. And then the short track cars, you say, a little bit different chassis configuration to permit better handling. This is a handling racetrack. It does not a lot of speed, as Tim Richmond, a young kid from Ohio, made his name at Indianapolis and then came down here racing with Harry Gant, also one of the fine short track specialists in NASCAR.